for this next problem of lesson 9.1, talking about points on the coordinate plane, you'll see here that I indicated for students it was important to show both pieces. So I actually laid out a table for them, kind of like a T-chart here, where I suggested they give me the point and after it the quadrant. Because if we read in here, it says, I want to plot the points on the coordinate plane below. Well, plotting the points, that's part A, the first thing I need to do. But as I read on, it says, in which quadrant? Which quadrant? So that's part B, naming the quadrant that those points land in. So let's give this a try. So for the first one, I noticed that S is found at positive 3, positive 2. So remember, we're always starting at the origin where the X and the Y intersect. I'm going to move positive 3 to the right because my positive numbers are on the right. To the right, to the right, to the right. This would be positive 3. And next that positive 2 says move up. 1, 2. I get to put a point here, but you should know that all good coordinate planes, they have points, but they also have labels. This is point S. So let's take a quick minute and off to the side, let's identify what quadrant point S is in. If you remember, my quadrants really rotate in a counterclockwise manner. So I'll go ahead and number these for us right now. And we'll talk about kind of that organization and how they move. So if I start here at quadrant 1, I can go around in this counterclockwise manner to get to all the quadrants in order. So quadrant 1, top right, quadrant 2, top left, quadrant 3, bottom left, and quadrant 4, bottom right. So now that I have these labeled for us, we could quickly look at point S, which is sitting here, and it seems to be in the top right, along with all points that are in quadrant 1. So here I can just use a Roman numeral 1 to show point S is in quadrant 1. I could cross off S and say we're done with that. We can move on to T. So point T should be at 0, negative 1. There's that challenging 0 again. So if I start here at the origin, where we always start with our graphing, where the X and the Y intersect, I first want to move 0, left or right. Oh, can't move 0 left or right. It says 0. I can't really go. I need to stay here. So next it shows negative 1. That really means I need to drop down 1. So I'll put a point here, and with all good points, they get a label. So this is point T. Let's go ahead and put that back on our T-chart. Point T, and we want to talk about what quadrant it is in. Well, this is tricky. I notice it's not in quadrant 3, and it's not in quadrant 4. It's between them. So one accurate answer would be to write it's between two quadrants, quadrant 3 and quadrant 4. Another thing to say would be which axis it is on. So if you look, it lands on an axis. This is the y-axis. So we would write y-axis here. That would be the most accurate answer for us today. Next, we're going to plot point U, which says I need to move negative 4, negative 2. So starting at the origin, again known as 0, 0, we move negative 4. That means move to the left. So we always go first to the right or to the left, and next we move up or down. So let's move backwards 4 to get to those negatives. Negative 1, negative 2, negative 3, negative 4. And next it says move negative 2. Well, the second number indicates moving up or down, and negatives are moving down below 0 on a vertical number line. Here's my next point, and with all good points, they get a good label. That's point U. I can cross it off here, and again, we can come back over to our table and say, point U, where is it located? Well, look at those quadrants. It's not here in quadrant 1, it's not here in quadrant 2, but in fact it's over here. The bottom left is always quadrant 3. So we'll go ahead and quickly label this. We also spoke with students today in class. I reminded them that you could find this information that might be helpful about the quadrants on page R10 of your planner. So just a friendly reminder that you have some other resources too. If you get stuck, you can be checking on page R10 of your planner. You really want to continue the same strategy. We'll do one more together and then I'll set you loose to finish the others. Hopefully you've had enough direction to get yourself going. So the last point that I'm going to graph with you is point V. It says I'm looking for positive 4, 0. The first number tells me right or left. The next number tells me up or down. So let's go to this origin again, where we always start at 0, 0. That's our starting point for graphing. And I want to move 4, so that really means move towards the positives. Move right. 1, 2, 3, 4. Next it says move 0. I can't move up or down, so I must already be here. This must be the destination or location for point V. And with all good points, they get a name or an identity or a label. I can cross this one off, and I can come back over to my chart and tell you which quadrant point B is in. Or can I? If you take a look, it's kind of between two quadrants. I notice it's between quadrant 1 and 4. Well, that's one decent answer, but another way of labeling this would be to tell you which axis it just landed on. If you remember, our horizontal axis is known as our x-axis. We'll stop here with number 2 on lesson 9.1, and we'll let you give it a try. Notice there are 2 more points for you to graph and also to record in your point and quadrant chart next door.